Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. It is no surprise that on my channel I love doing various book tags. I think this year alone I have filmed 2 or 3 and just have such a fun time answering these themed questions, whether it's romance book related and my dream dates or my audiobook habits. I just love chatting about books, and I think that bookish tags are such a fun way to give some recommendations, talk about my reading and things like that. So today I am very excited to be answering these questions to the Thrilling Thriller book tag. I saw Sophia Reed's do this tag a few weeks ago, and as soon as I started watching that video, I knew that I wanted to do this tag myself. It has been around for several years. The original video, as far as I'm aware, has been privated since it came out, but I will have all the questions for this tag in the description down below if you're interested in answering these questions yourself. If you do, feel free to tag me. I love all things thriller and mystery. This is my favorite time of year to read these types of books, so I think it's perfect timing to film this tag to answer these questions, because there's something about fall and thrillers that just go so well together. So we're going to chat about the 8 questions that are part of this tag. At the end of the video, I will also tag a couple friends, and it's going to be a great time. Before I dive into these questions, I do just want to say a quick thank you to Everand for being a part of today's video. Everand is an ebook, audiobook, and podcast subscription platform. With a standard subscription, you get 1 credit a month for $11.99, as well as access to all of the free content they have on their platform. And with a premium subscription, which is $16.99 a month, you get 3 premium credits to unlock titles, as well as access to a whole database of content that is free for subscribers. I've so enjoyed using this app, and I cannot wait to utilize it with all these spooky books this season. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my answers for the Thrilling Thriller book tag. The first question is, what is the last thriller that you bought? And for me, that is Dead Before Coed. This is a fairly new release. I say fairly, it came out like a week and a half ago maybe, and I just got my copy in the mail, and I am very excited to pick this one up. It is a dark academia thriller about 2 friends, Edith and Sylvia, and they went to college together. When one of the friends, Sylvia, moves on from this college, they promise to keep in touch with each other, but that is not what ends up happening. Edith, our other friend, is now back on this campus, and so is Sylvia. But Sylvia is not quite herself, and something has changed within her, and they're back together, and we need to find the answers to what really is going on with Sylvia and what might have happened to her between the time that she left this college that she was at. This one just screams academia. I love this cover. This is an indie release, I believe, and I haven't really seen anybody talk about it, but I forget where I heard about it, and I knew that I wanted to check it out. This is my newest purchase, and hopefully one that I can pick up before the end of the year. Question number 2 is to show the most recent thriller that you've added to your TBR. And I actually have 3 because I was surprised last week with some book mail from Kensington. They sent me 3 thrillers that I'm very excited to officially have on my TBR. 2 of these books release on the day that I'm filming this video. 1 released earlier this summer, and I'm just very excited to check all these out very soon. I always get a little bit emotional getting book mail from publishers because it's just so sweet, and I just feel so honored, and these ones are all going on my TBR. I want to make an intentional move to read these very soon. I don't know what any of them are about, of course, because this was surprise book mail, but I'll show y'all the covers of each one and share the titles. First, we have A Beacon in the Night by David Lewis. This one is a historical fiction with mystery and suspense in it as well. We also have Everyone a Stranger by Kevin O'Brien. This one, I believe, is also historical, and if it's not historical, it takes place in Washington DC and gives all those like military government suspense vibes. I don't know, we'll see what this one's about, but I am very excited for it. And finally, we have The Unseen by Kat Martin. This one is about a house, and it's paranormal, and there's a 100-year-old skeleton found at this mansion, and the mystery ensues from there. This is a southern thriller and sounds like it'll be a fun time. I think this cover is beautiful. I love the sunset in the background with the different colors, and yeah, I'm just very excited to have all of these officially on my shelves. I feel very honored to have been sent these and cannot wait to pick them up. The next question is, what thriller did you have high expectations for but ultimately let you down? And I've got a couple for this one as well. One is a very recent read, and that is Someone Knows by V. Keeland. I've talked about this one on my channel a few times over the last couple months, but I was super excited for this one. I haven't read V. Keeland's romance books, but I do know that she is a big romance writer, and there's been a big shift, I feel like, in authors writing in new genres, and a lot of romance writers are starting to also write thrillers. I think it's very fun. I read this one, loved it for the first 70%, and by the end of the book I was so mad that I just didn't know why I spent so much time reading it, because this one was so bingeable, so addicting. I was so curious to know what the mystery was, but the twist made absolutely zero sense to me, and I was really let down. I saw myself giving this one 4.5 or 5 stars until the end, and then I gave it 2 stars. So this one was certainly a letdown for me. And the other thriller that I have is Bad Things Feel Best by Ivy Smoak. I don't give books 1 star frequently, but this is one that I gave 1 star. I have read 5 or 6 books by this author that have been 4 or 5 stars, all of them romance. I was very excited to see that she was releasing a thriller, and I strongly disliked it. Could I tell you the plot at this point? No, it's probably been 3 to 4 years since I've read this one, but I just remember being so pumped because at that time I was going through a big phase with this author and binging all of her stuff, and in the end, this is one of my least favorite books that I've ever read. So this one was a huge letdown, especially based off my love for some of her romance series. Question 4 is, what are tropes that you love and hate in thriller books? 3 that I love and will never stop talking about are books with isolated settings, like the inside of a submarine, or a mansion in the middle of nowhere, or a family who is trapped in a storm. I love that isolated feeling and just the eeriness that thrillers can have because of the setting of the book. I also love the locked room trope. I will never get over that one. A group of people being trapped in one place. I can't help but think of Lucy Foley and Agatha Christie. Some of their books kind of do that thriller mystery genre blend, but I love watching characters get trapped together and a mystery ensue, and we can't rely on anybody, and it's just a fun time trying to solve the mystery yourself, I feel like, with locked room mysteries, because you have your cast of characters who are all stuck together. The 3rd trope I kind of hinted at, and it kind of goes along with the isolated setting trope, but I've also found that books with this natural disaster, or like natural settings, are super fun. I've read books that take place in the middle of hurricanes. I've read books that take place inside of caves and under the ocean, and I think books that feature those elements of nature and or natural disasters occurring in nature can be really fun, and again, add to the mystery of these settings. And 2 tropes that I do not like, and I've recently learned that I do not like, are books with the amnesia trope, and books where at the end you find out that it was all a dream, or that the main character was dead the entire time. I won't name any books that have those tropes, but there's one that I still think about that makes me so mad because I did not like the twist because it included one of those tropes. So there are a lot more tropes that I love than hate, of course, but those are 2 tropes that I strongly dislike in my thrillers. The fifth prompt is to recommend an underrated thriller, and I also have 3 to recommend. I can't just pick one recommendation for y'all for a lot of these questions. First, we have I Have No Secrets by Penny Jolson. I recently filmed a book review for this. If you would like to check it out, I'll tag it in the cards above. This is a young adult thriller about our main character Gemma, who has cerebral palsy and is in the midst of a mystery in her own home when her caretaker disappears. She's being bullied by somebody who keeps coming into the house, and she knows kind of, or has a suspicion about what is going on, but has to figure out how she can help her family find her caregiver. This one reads super quickly. It's not super gory or intense or anything like that, but it makes you want to keep flipping the pages and root for Gemma and her family to find out what happened to this person in their home. We also have I Did Warn Her. This is a 2025 thriller release that I personally loved. Again, we have this isolated setting because our cast of characters is trapped on a yacht, and on this yacht people start dying. We follow different perspectives. Nobody's likable. We can't trust anybody, and it was just such a fun time. I don't see anybody ever talk about this one, and definitely think that it needs more hype. It was addicting, fast-paced, creepy, and I wanted to know what the reveal was going to be by the end. One of my 2025 favorites, and I need to buy myself a physical copy because I just loved it so much. And finally, another one that I don't see anybody talk about, which is why I'm calling it underrated, is Every Sweet Thing is Bitter by Samantha Cruson. This one also came out in 2025. It is a mystery thriller about a woman with a violent past who gets a chance to redeem herself when she goes home after her mother has disappeared, and the suspicions that she's disappeared under are very suspicious. She grew up, our main character, in an abusive household. Her father was very, very mean to his daughters, and she ended up going to prison for several years. She is now out and does not want to go back to her hometown, but her mother's disappearance kind of changes things for her. This is a mystery thriller that discusses family dynamics, abuse in the household, raising your younger siblings, queer identity, while also entangling a mystery in the middle of all of that. I really enjoyed it, and again, don't see anybody talk about it, but I gave this one 4 stars and would definitely check out more from this author in the future. I think this one was also a debut. Prompt number 6 is kind of a fun one and requires you to comment on this video. And I'm just gonna read it off my phone because there's a lot of words that go with the prompt. Question 6 says to pick 3 thrillers from your shelves, 2 you've read and 1 you haven't. And this is when y'all come in. Y'all have to pick which one I've read and which 2 I haven't. None of these books I don't think have ever been talked about on my channel, so y'all will have no idea, I don't think, about any of these ones and if I've read them or not, but we'll just go ahead and do it. First, we have Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Second is One by One. And the third one is Cross My Heart. So if y'all want to comment which one of these 3 you think I've read, feel free to do so and I'll let you know if you are right or wrong. Prompt number 7 is to recommend a thriller for beginners because people are often intimidated by the genre. My answers are probably pretty basic, but I have to agree with everybody else who uses these for their answers. Anything by Frida McFadden is going to be very, very bingeable. Her books are very quick to fly through. They're nothing you have to think super hard about. They make great beach reads, airplane reads, starting your thriller journey reads, and I do enjoy a lot of her books. A lot of them I don't like, but if you want a recommendation, let me know and I'll give you one that I personally really enjoyed. I also have to say Taylor Adams, specifically Hairpin Bridge. A lot of people choose No Exit for this author, but Hairpin Bridge is highly underrated. This is one of my 5-star reads from years ago. I also have a book review of this book up on my channel. I can't promise it's as eloquent as the template that I follow now, but I'll also tag that above. I had such a fun time with that one. You get the isolated setting in this book, and it's just such a fun time in my opinion, and I think it would be a good book for beginners. And then the final author I want to recommend is Rachel Hawkins. All of her books are so easy, super fun, full of drama, and I'm pretty sure they all have short chapters, so they make it very easy to flip through the pages. I've met Rachel Hawkins. I have given all of her thrillers 4 or 5 stars, and just cannot wait for her newest release to come out in 2026, but I highly recommend checking her books out. The final question is, what is your personal favorite thriller? And my answer for this one is probably unpopular, but I think a lot of the reason why it is my favorite thriller still after all these years is because it is the first thriller that I ever read back during COVID. I, up until that point, had mostly read young adult and finally started reading contemporary romance as well as thrillers during COVID, and the first thriller that I read during that time was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is not people's favorite thriller, nor is it their favorite Riley Sager book typically, but this one is just so nostalgic for me, I think, of that time and just finding a new genre that I've fallen in love with since then, and it will probably forever be my favorite thriller. I've only read it once. I should do a reread of it. I still remember the twists though and things like that, so I'm hesitant to because I won't be guessing anything, but I think it would be a fun time to potentially try to dive back into this one and do a reread since it has been 5 years at this point. But this is a thriller that takes place in New York City in an apartment where the people are not what they seem, and I loved it personally. This was the kickstart to my thriller journey, and now I have all these other recommendations to give y'all because of this book. And finally, as per usual, I will tag a couple friends. First, as always, is Stacia from Reader C, and I'll also be tagging Amanda from Amanda's Booktopia. If y'all want to do this tag, please feel free to do so. If I did not tag you, also feel free to answer these questions. I would love to chat more about all the thriller mystery books with y'all. That is all that I have though for today's video. If you made it to the end, make sure to comment a ghost. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.